Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever Ember wanders near.
The one where the cop shot the lady in the park lot? No, I think I believe, I could be mistaken about this, that's why I wanted to watch this video. I believe this is where someone shot another person for a parking space. I think this is the case. Like, this is it's the case in question that the boys were talking about kind of consensual, which it sounded like one person shot another person for a parking space. I think. I do not know for sure, but that's why I want to watch this video and see just what the fuck happened. So we'll take a look at, was this self-defense or murder? So let's do it.
On the heels of the Carmelo Anthony murder verdict comes another incident involving self-defense, race, and now also sex. I'm not talking about that kind of sex. I'm talking about male or female. It's not June, I can say that now. Because just over a week ago, this shooting took place where an African-American woman shot an old white Army veteran in a parking lot, potentially arguing over the parking space. And while this dispute unfortunately ended in the loss of life, a lot of people are weighing in on whether it was justified or unjustified, and how obvious it is that it's one or the other. And I'm going to break down the juxtaposition of this is a very good cut and dry self-defense compared to this does not meet the standards of self-defense and is a murder, actually.
Let's say
Carmelo 2.0. But before I get any further, first a word from this video's sponsor, PDS Debt. Is the hair on the back of your neck starting to stand up because the math's not mathing and
Rich's
the bills are
entire
spread all
point
over the
is
kitchen
that
table?
it
Yes,
may
the
not
interest
be
is
obvious
compounding
that
and
it
the
was
fees are
justified.
stacking
I
up,
think that's the
but
entire
PDS
point of
Debt
his
has
breakdown
already
here.
helped hundreds of thousands reduce
You know,
what they owe
he'll
and
talk
take
about
back
it. We'll
control.
see.
Whether you're struggling with
Because
credit
I don't
card
know
debt,
anything
personal
about this.
loans,
I
or
know
medical
absolutely
bills,
nothing about
PDS
this.
Debt
I'm
has
going in
custom
very
options to
blind.
help get you out. And they go beyond the numbers to create a unique financial solution to your problem. A personalized plan just for you. There's no minimum credit score required. They're here to help you save more and pay off your debt faster. And start putting money back where it belongs, in your pocket.
PDSdebt.com.
With an A+ from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews
Usual
on Google.
suspects
along
acting
with a
up again.
5-star rating
Don't
on
know.
Trustpilot. Why not?
I do not
Trust
know.
PDS Debt. Don't let your case stay open for another month. Break free in 30 seconds. Get your free personalized assessment and the best option for you at pdsdebt.com/angry. That's pdsdebt.com/angry. pdsdebt.com/angry. Okay, let's break this down. The good, the bad, and the ugly, right? The good, as in supporting self-defense law. Making the shooter a candidate for a self-defense defense. The bad. What are some issues that could arise in a self-defense defense? And then finally the end, the ugly, where I kind of tell you my 2 cents and combine the two with my superior knowledge based on
his phenomenal investigative talents.
decade and a half of being a copper. First off, Florida is a stand-your-ground state. That's right. You have no duty to retreat in Florida. In fact, per Florida statute 7...
So, already we're going in hot. This is Florida. We are we about to get a Florida man or a Florida woman on this one?
776.12-2, you are legally allowed to brandish...
I saw, he ought to have Jake the lawyer, who passed the bar in on this. Kaibo, wow, chef's kiss on that one. What the perfect.
Or retrieve, pull out, remove, show your firearm when there is the potential of imminent death or great bodily harm. Now, as of right now, the video here, the only audio that we can kind of get is we can hear the woman yell, "Walk away." So from a self-defense strategy point, that person is trying to de-escalate this scenario, right? Yes, a firearm might be drawn, but...
No. I'm gonna say saying walk away. Hearing her simply just saying walk away on its face, I would not characterize as being de-escalating the situation. If you can't hear the context of why she said just walk away, she could have been saying walk away, don't argue with me. So it's context there matters of when she said just walk away, whether or not she was de-escalating or being aggressive and saying, don't you dare argue with me, just walk away.
If drawn in accordance with that stand your ground self-defense law, stating that you perceive imminent death or great bodily harm, the individual trying to now lower the heat in the situation by saying, hey, walk away, just walk away while you've got your burner out, that is a great sign for not trying to escalate the situation even more. It's de-escalation.
Maybe.
All right, calm your tits.
Yeah, firearm might be out, but it is out legally. And we're working our way down so that I can put the firearm away. Hey, walk away.
But why was the firearm drawn in the first place? That, in my opinion, the moments leading up to the firearm being drawn in the first place are more important to me, informationally speaking, than saying just walk away after the firearm has already been drawn. Because those moments leading up to the firearm being drawn in a usable capacity would be far more telling in regards to the overall situation up to that point.
Walk away, suggesting that if you walk away, now the firearm gets put away. Very good for self-defense. Another thing that supports the self-defense narrative here is the gentleman, unfortunately the man who passed away, is seen walking towards her. Now, if somebody has a firearm out on you, it's probably not a good idea to walk towards them. You might assume that they're in fear of something, or that they're the aggressor. Either way, this porcupine's got its quills up. You probably don't want to start walking around cars following the person that's holding a firearm. And when told to walk away,
that's fair.
It's probably not a good idea to then walk back into the scenario.
It just feels like tempting fate.
Because that shows that the man could have left the area, right? He walks away from the car and then returns. He could have left. The situation was done. It was done. And then he re-engaged. Another win for the self-defense narrative. The other thing, and this is kind of a neutral, is a phone recording. Is it law enforcement that she's talking to on the phone? Is she recording it? If so, you have an audio and potentially, because of the 911 call, and potentially a audio and visual recording, AV, the video, of the shooting. So in evidence, at least audio, because 911 calls are all recorded, potentially audio and video, we will have a play-by-play, real-life viewing of the conversation between the two.
Hey, sexy.
And I say obviously because any good copper is going to see this dash cam that came out from a bystander, see the woman on her phone recording it and go, evidence. We should collect that. And to end on the good, I have talked to several of my friends and people in law enforcement and people that just have family, and they say, hey man, if my wife were to pull out a gun in a parking lot and say, get away from me, and some dude, I don't care how old he is, walks up to her anyway, she should blast the shit out of him, because I don't want my wife touched, tainted, harmed, killed, diddled, or anything. The way she left the house is the way she should return. Except for a couple bullets lighter for the guy that she plugged that wouldn't leave her alone. And although I couldn't really find any past precedent in Florida for this, I think we're all very aware of the viral self-defense incident in Virginia when there was a YouTube prankster following around a DoorDash guy in a mall.
Yes, this one. But Drama Tuna, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. Hope you had a great stream. Yes, that one. So for those of you that are not familiar with the case that Rich is just referencing there was a prankster in Virginia that was going around acting like he was going to be attacking just people. He was one of those stupid ass prank channels, and he was like going around filming himself, like scaring people, acting like he was going to attack them. And he did that to someone who had a gun. This person thought he was legitimately being attacked, pulled out his gun, and shot the prankster. I believe he killed him too. he was found not guilty of murder, that he perceived a legitimate fear for his health and safety, and he was not found at fault for the shooting. That is what Rich is did he live? I could not remember if he lived or died. Okay, so the prankster lived, but he was so the shooter was not found at fault for doing the shooting because he had a legitimate fear for his life. That is the case in which Rich is referencing. Now, again, with this Walmart case, there's still a great deal of context we do not have. What we're seeing right now is Rich is going through the pro-woman, the pro-defense for the woman as to why she may have been in the right for what she did. So, it's like, that's kind of why I've been keeping quiet and I haven't been hammering home, like, we need the context, we need the context, we need the context, because he's looking at one side right now, and after he's done with that, he will shift to the other side, and maybe we will receive some context. So that's why I've been kind of quiet about it.
Who wouldn't leave him alone, didn't say anything, just kept showing him a weird, some repetitive video. And the guy said, get away from me, you're freaking me out, and then popped him in the stomach. Acquitted of all charges.
Yeah.
What?
Hey, did quit thinking about my twinkle.
What's that mean?
Hey, did quit thinking about my twinkle.
No.
Hey, did quit thinking about my twinkle.
Get out of my business like half second. Stop.
Hey, did quit thinking about my twinkle.
Stop.
So not a past precedent for Florida, but a past precedent.
Okay, that's not the case that I was thinking of. That was not the case that I was thinking of. Oh. Okay. I mean, it's still good that he got acquitted because the guy was harassing the shit out of him like that. It's not the one that I was thinking of, though. The one that I was thinking of was a different case where a prankster was acting like he was going to kidnap the guy, I think. So this was a different case, but still, it's, you're going to go harass people like that. Yeah. Was I thinking of the stabbing one? It could be the stabbing one that I'm thinking of. There have been a number of, like, pranksters that have played fuck around and find out, and their find out part, unfortunately, resulted in them either being significantly injured or even killed. So it's kind of hard to, like, narrow down a specific one these days.
In the United States. Hey, following somebody, even in a public space, when they begin to feel uncomfortable, can be enough for a use of deadly force, legally. But now let's get into the bad. So we've touched on why this case looks like it's an easy self-defense case. Cut and dry. No handcuffs, no jury. The DA won't even run the case. Now, let's bring it over to the other side, the bad. What are some holes in this that may not make this a cut and dry self-defense case?
Here we go.
Potentially, Carmelo Anthony it up to a murder.
Some
Okay.
motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
That needs to come back. That needs to come back. That expression, some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. We need to bring that back. We do. I may put that on the soundboard. I might. Yeah, well, yeah, it's why he said it in Deadpool and Wolverine. It's one of his best lines out of the original Blade movie. Yeah, that 100% needs to. You know what? On Twitter, since Twitter has such a problem with fuck around and find out, because bearing in mind Nizuki got banned for saying fuck around and find out, let's replace it with some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. Let's bring it back. We're bringing it back, chat. We're bringing it back.
Let's dive a little bit deeper into the stand your ground law and just showing a firearm in Florida Statute 776.12-1. Brandishing your firearm, I'm just going to say brandish.
Hang on, let me hear. You're justified in using or threatening to use non-deadly force, which can include brandishing, displaying a firearm as a threat when you reasonably believe it is necessary to defend against another's imminent unlawful force. No duty to retreat. Okay.
776.12-1. Brandishing your firearm, I'm just gonna say brandishing, all right? Just, I know that it's like a legal term and people might be like, he's flashing. Just brandishing is the term I'm gonna use, right? Pulling it out, showing it. Brandishing a firearm in Florida is legal, but once again, it has to be under imminent threat. Imminent, meaning it is on you. Imminent threat of deadly force or great bodily harm. What does great bodily harm mean? I know New York State has specific definitions for assault and the different injuries that need to occur to reach higher levels of assault. You know, simple assault on the lowest level is I hit you and there's redness and swelling, maybe a little bit of blood. Secondary assault is I cut you and there's a laceration. Maybe a small broken bone. Final assault is like, you know, the highest level assault is where like I stab you and it hits an organ that could kill you, right? Those are defined in New York State's law. Florida's description of great bodily harm, well, there isn't one.
There is no surprise there.
But it does give a roundabout explanation of what that is in previous case law. So, previous case law and pretty much the standard for what great bodily harm means in the state of Florida is the following. Per Wheeler versus State, great bodily harm is distinguished from slight, trivial, minor, or moderate harm, and as such does not include mere bruises that are likely to be inflicted in a simple assault and battery. Thus, the state must prove more than that the victim suffered from harm. And Florida legal interpretation of this is broken bones, lacerations, severe trauma. Think of like being hit with a baseball bat. But even then, a baseball bat is like, that's a weapon. You could absolutely draw on somebody with a weapon. What a firearm cannot do.
Like according to that explanation, in Florida, great bodily harm could be if you broke someone's nose with a punch. That is by the way that is written, if you get into a fight and break someone's nose by just getting into a fist fight with someone, it sounds like Florida could facilitate that as being quote unquote great bodily harm. Yeah, a punch can still be lethal. I think what I don't think that we're seeing there is I think there's also a degree of intent. So if you have an offender who with a single punch was able to like fracture an orbital bone or break someone's nose to qualify it as great bodily harm, and that individual was an experienced and trained fighter and was intending to inflict that kind of damage to a person, then I think, yeah, you could substantiate great bodily harm. I think for the average person that is in the heat of the moment trying to that is in the heat of the moment just swings a punch, not even in self-defense, but like just swings a punch, and commits the same injury, there is a possibility that the argument could perhaps be made by an attorney against great bodily harm. Now, again, it's Florida. I have no idea if this would fly, but I think that might be a quotient involved in the court proceedings to establish great bodily harm would be the skill of the person inflicting the injury and the intent of the person inflicting the injury. That maybe. Good fucking maybe here. That may be a part of establishing the great bodily harm. Perhaps.
Is escalate the situation. Why do I say this, right? Because if you pull out the firearm during an argument where there isn't an imminent deadly threat or threat of great bodily harm, you've escalated the situation now by pulling out the firearm and are not privy to the stand your ground law.
Here's where I could see the counter argument being made by this woman. I guarantee you, if that comes up in court, this will be the argument by her lawyer. Your Honor, my client is a woman. The gentleman is a man and a military veteran with trained in combat. So potentially his fists could have inflicted great bodily harm. That would be the argument that would be made by the defense in court if it comes up, if it comes up that the great bodily harm condition was not met in accordance with the statute. Did you know he was a veteran at the time? No. But that won't stop the defense from bringing up that argument. The primary argument will be, Your Honor, my client is a woman. The offender, the person coming at her was a man. That is when they will actually use gender to their advantage. That's when all of a sudden it's not treat everybody equally. Now all of a sudden it's, my client was a woman, so she's weaker than a man, so she should be given preferential treatment. Because that's how that always works. Is no, women are better or women should be treated equal unless it advantages them to say women are weaker than men.
The woman is then seen getting out of her car, phone in one hand, gun in the other.
You do not have self-defense
Oh,
as
no.
a defense because
no.
you've escalated it.
Yep.
Example so that we can understand one another. We're at a parking space. I say, I want to park here, similar to what's going on in this video. You say, you dude, this is my spot. I immediately pull out a gun and point it in your face. Do you see how I'm not under an imminent threat of death or great bodily harm?
Yeah.
It's just a verbal altercation. Now I've escalated it by pulling out a firearm during this verbal escalation. That would be bad.
Understatement of the year.
In fact, this falls under Florida Statute 790.10, improper exhibition, occurring when someone shows, displays, or brandishes a firearm or weapon in a rude, careless, angry, or threatening manner in the presence of another person.
And this is where I was talking about when she said just walk away. Is that de-escalating? Or is the context of the events prior to it of her going, walk away, I don't want to argue with you, just walk away and let me have my way? Yep.
I shit you not, this is from a lawyer's website in Florida. It breaks down a couple instances where pulling out a firearm may not be legal in the self-defense statutes. Two drivers argue in traffic. Someone displays a gun during a heated dispute. A firearm flashed during a road rage encounter. A weapon is handled while intoxicated. A family argument escalates and someone calls police. A gun is displayed during a trespass or a parking lot confrontation.
Ding, 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 ding.
Oh my God. It's like a Florida lawyer knew Florida man was got a Florida man. Now we talked about some of these things in good self-defense. They also now kind of apply in bad self-defense.
Yep.
We have to look at who the potential victim is, the unfortunate veteran who lost his life in the parking lot. A 67-year-old guy. Oh, it's I mean, yeah, hey, 67-year-old guys can be threats, but you're 3 years away from 70 years old. What exactly is the imminent deadly threat there?
Yeah.
Or great bodily harm?
I hope I don't bore you to death.
What great bodily harm are you going to get from a 67-year-old man walking to you with his hands up, although in an argument? And let's talk about this. I brought it up before. My friend saying that this is an obviously good shoot because, hey, somebody walks up to my wife when they are not allowed to, I should be able to shoot them. Or my wife should be able to shoot them in self-defense. In this particular video, we don't know what's being said other than the one walk away at the end right before the shooting. But we do have the deceased party walking up, obviously in a verbal altercation, to the female with his hands raised on multiple occasions to show that he's not a threat while she has a gun pointed at him. Now they walk around cars as they're having their argument, his hands still raised, sometimes go down, but never reaching in his pockets or pulling out any sort of weapon. And even though he does walk away and it could have ended the situation, he walks back. But even then, it's a verbal altercation. What is the threat of imminent deadly force and great bodily harm that he is presenting? Because
I don't think, see, Rich is basically saying he's putting his hands up to indicate he doesn't have a gun. I'm gonna hazard a guess that that was not his intention of his movement with his hands going up. He was 67 years old. Oh, fuck. Don't you dare. No, we're not doing that. Don't. the way he was moving his hands, like he put his hands up, but then he also like put his hands forward a little bit and was like flapping his fingers. I don't think he had his hands up for the purposes of showing he was unarmed. I think his hands were up like that in a gesturing manner. That's what it feels like to me, is that he was like gesturing at her and not saying, I don't have a weapon. That's just the feeling that I've got. And, oh, hang on a second. I'll be right back. I don't know what the hell she did, but all I heard was a scrambling of claws on floor and a whole mess of shit just got knocked over. Had a bunch of stuff to clean up. But it's fine. It's fine. It's Scout doing orange cap things. Anyway, let us continue.
Because walking towards somebody in an argument with their hands up isn't enough for the use of deadly force or brandishing the firearm. It doesn't qualify for imminent deadly threat or great bodily harm.
I'm gonna say, based on the video footage we've seen thus far, the only way the defense of imminent threat or great bodily harm works is if he started charging her. If he actually started to charge at her, that's the only way threat of imminent death or great bodily harm works. If he's still just standing there bitching at her, and she ends up taking the shot and taking him down, the defense completely falls apart.
And if you're still having a hard time seeing what I'm trying to portray, and you're going with what some of my friends have said, my wife can shoot anyone.
No, even if he did something before the video started, even then, it might not still work. Because unless he's actively, again, it's, and there's been zero indications of what occurred before the video started. There's been zero indications that there was any altercation other than verbal. Was she actually blocking access to his vehicle or something? I don't know. It doesn't appear to be. It does not be. It looks like it's an argument over a parking space. So I don't think that she was blocking access to his vehicle or anything. And from what I understand, there was nothing that occurred before the video to indicate that he had attempted to physically harm her prior to the video. I have not heard anything about that yet. He would have had to threaten her again when the gun was drawn. Not necessarily if an event occurred prior to her drawing the firearm where he did a physical attack on her to place her in threat of receiving great bodily harm, then he would not have had to threaten her again when the gun was drawn, because the threat is, because he did not disengage, the threat would have still been in play. However, to the best of my understanding, from what we're seeing here, there was no threat of this nature prior to her pulling her firearm. She pulled her firearm after she got out of the car. And in and of itself with that, the prosecuting attorney could make the argument against her, saying if she was perceiving a threat to herself prior to exiting her car, why did she not back up and drive away? Why did she not disengage if she perceived some kind of a threat by this gentleman? Why did she not drive away from the situation and call the police when she had the means to? When he was on foot, she was in a car. Why did she not drive away?
Trying to portray, and you're going with what some of my friends have said, my wife can shoot anybody that's following her. Let me pose this to you. You and your wife get in a verbal altercation. It's just verbal. You're in your homes. You both have a reason to be there. Legally. Just like these two had a legal reason to be in a parking lot. Shared spaces. During this verbal argument with your wife pulls out a firearm and points it at you. And you follow her through the kitchen screaming, "What are you gonna do, Sarah? Shoot me? You gonna shoot me, Sarah? Is that what you're gonna do, Sarah?"
Shit, you can shoot me, but you can't kill me.
It's all on video. It's in your house cam, right? She tells you to get out of the house. You don't have to get out of the house. You have a legal
True.
right to be there, just like the
Right.
gentleman has a legal right to be in the parking lot. You say no. You walk away. You walk back into the room because you want to yell at your wife some more. She shoots you. Is that justified? No.
No.
It's not.
Nope.
No, dude. Your wife can't kill you because you're in a verbal argument and you're walking around the house yelling at her. Just like if this self-defense case is just that. Two people arguing over a parking space. There's no verbal threats. There's just, I don't like you, I'm upset, walking around hands up, and she draws the pistol. We need more.
Yes,
we need
exactly.
way more to justify deadly force being utilized in this self-defense incident. Once again, I'm trying to break stereotypes here, right? You can't just say, well, he's bigger than me and he's a man, so I shot him.
That's just like the rules of feminism.
Exactly. And that is going to be the argument of defense. Mark my fucking words. That is going to be the defense of the argument of the defense. And I will even postulate that the defense is going to throw race in there. The defense is going to say, my client is a poor is just a helpless black woman against this evil white man. They are going to throw race into this. I guarantee you. And there's going to be more, but I'm saving it till the end.
That is not legal, right? Would it be? That's like, I'm going to play, God, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to juxtapose two ridiculous scenarios here, all right? If this middle-aged black woman was like, well, he's a big white man, and that scares me, so I shot him. It's like a little white girl going, well, he's a big black guy, and he scares me, so I shot him.
Fucking exactly. Exactly what I was talking about. And that's going to be used. That will be used in the defense. I'm telling you right now. That will be used in the defense.
Asian girl going, well, it's a big black guy, and he scares me, so I shot him. Do you see how, like, sex, race, and size doesn't mean you get to just plug somebody because they're arguing with you? There needs to be more. Now, I assume there's going to be more with the video on her phone or audio recording with the 911 person if she's on the phone with them. Whatever that audio visual moment is where she's holding the phone, either recording him or talking to 911, that audio is going to help out a lot, right? I mean, could you imagine just a cop being like, well, he's a big black guy and he just walked up on me, so I shot him. There needs to be more. Is it he just assaulted somebody? He just stole a car? He had a weapon that he fired rounds off at somebody during a drive-by shooting, and now he's refusing commands, right? There has to be a legitimate threat, right? And that legitimate threat comes with more information, not just guy walking around with his hands up in a verbal argument. Did he make a threat? We don't know yet. And that brings me to the ugly, right? Here we are. I've given you what I've given you. I'll link some things down below so you can look at the statements from the county sheriff and also one of the news agencies. So let's break this down quickly.
We may look at those after.
Now, I couldn't hear the woman say walk away. That was what was reported in a news article from local news stating that it was in the camera footage. Camera footage of this incident that I got from the news is going to be placed at the end of this video, so then you can kind of watch the cut-up section that I was able to see and find. I couldn't find a full video of it. I'm okay with this being self-defense. In fact, I'm so on the fence with this, I don't know where to go. I need more information before I can literally go this side or that side. Why? I've touched on it. Let me hammer it home. Self-defense is awesome, and it absolutely should be practiced. If you're afraid for your personal safety, you should be able to defend yourself. However, there are limits to when you can do that. If it is just a verbal altercation, you don't get to pull out a firearm. There has to be something more. There has to be a threat to you. And it isn't a threat if some 67-year-old guy is walking up to you like, listen, bitch, this is my parking spot. That's not enough. In no way, shape, or form is that enough to use deadly force. On the flip side, why the f are we pulling out firearms and screaming at each other for parking spots? The two of you are idiots. You're both dumb. The lady, dumb for getting in an argument and pulling out a pistol on somebody over a parking spot. And the old white guy, dumb, because there's a gun in your face and you won't just go off.
I'm gonna hazard a guess. This man was probably a combat veteran. Probably wasn't the first time he's had a gun pulled on him, and he just didn't care. If I was gonna hazard a guess, usually the reason why why an older guy has a gun pulled on him, and he's just like, what the fuck are you gonna do? That wasn't his first rodeo of having a gun pulled on him.
You are so right, sir. Then obviously,
Oh,
now,
so foolish, but
hindsight's 2020.
That's
But
probably
even then,
why.
Obviously, go, oh, there's a gun. Let me now go call the cops and say, this woman pointed a firearm at me just because we were arguing over a parking spot. Boom! She goes to jail. That is an irresponsible person with a firearm, if that's the case. But we don't know, because you just start walking around. You said you're not gonna do it one too many times. Went around the corner of the car to yell at her and give her a piece of your mind one last time, and it literally was that one last time. Pow, slam, gone. What people don't understand is that a self-defense is that it's a defense. You have to prove.
Yes, he did say he was a veteran.
In court that, hey, I had to do this because there was a threat. While the prosecution goes, okay, this guy's dead. We got to represent him because he's dead. Because, you know, what if he died under unlawful circumstances? Now they're going to look into it and go, all right, one of two things. We have enough evidence. We've seen the video. We've got the 911 recordings. He made a threat. She's 100% good in self-defense. We have the evidence here. Right, we're good to go. We're not going to charge it. Part two, there's not enough evidence between the two to show her completely on the right side of this, right? Let's say the audio is just that, just the two of them arguing. F you, get the fuck away from me, I'll shoot you. You're not gonna shoot me, F you, I am. No, you're not, this is you're a dumb bitch. Wow. And then she plugs him? Where's the threat of imminent deadly force?
Exactly.
Or great bodily harm that she needs to feel in order to then shoot this guy dead? Where is the threat? Because if that isn't there, clear as day, the defense is gonna have to say, you need to get on the stand and tell everybody why you were afraid of the 67-year-old white guy walking up to you with his hands up in the air. And I guess that's my 2 cents. If there...
I really want to hear I would really love to hear the audio. Like, if she was on the phone and if there is audio of this, I would love to hear it because, okay, I'm gonna save my opinion until we can see the video footage that Rich said is gonna be at the end of this video, because that should be coming up here shortly. I'm gonna save my thought until I can see the video footage.
There is some small additional
piece
of evidence showing that this 67-year-old dude was a legitimate threat of her. I don't think imminent death, but, you know, great bodily harm. Man, it's such a fucking stretch. There has to be, I mean, he's literally got to say, I'm going to kill you, and then she could shoot him. If there's that, 100% self-defense. Easy peasy, cut and dry. If it is literally just an argument, and she pulls out a firearm because she's just like, I'm going to park here, you can fuck off. That's not going to be under self-defense, and a lot of people are going to be upset.
Nope.
Obviously, the family of the dead 67-year-old veteran is already upset. Good luck battling it out in the comments. Best way to support the channel is get yourself a shirt. Look at all these shirts. Oh my gosh. E4 Mafia. Everybody loves E4 Mafia. You know, the vice president was a member of the E4 Mafia. Just so great. Best way to support the channel. Cheapest way to support the channel is leave a comment. And I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Listen, I can sway either way. I'm not putting my chips on any one of these things right now. I need more information. But I'd like to hear what you think right now. Do you think that this is justified 100%? Is there additional information that hasn't come out yet, that maybe came out while I was making this video?
You should be
and now
putting
we've got additional stuff that
video
say,
clip
hey,
at the end
100%
here.
justified. Is it not justified? Has been more information coming out about, yeah, it was just a 67-year-old guy and a lady having a verbal argument, and then she shot him because he was like, fuck you pulled your gun out, that's illegal, you can't do that. It would be, well, you know, time and a place to pick your battles, man. All right. See you next time, weirdos.
Okay. Okay. to see the beginning. I want to see the beginning part when she got out of the car, too. He's not acting this is not he's still keeping distance. Oh wait, now he's closing. Where is she? Where is she in relation to this? Okay. He's walking away now. This is where she should have shut up. Now what did she say now? What did she say there? He was walking away. So what did she say to him to cause him to turn around and come back? All right, I'm gonna check the
woman
links.
Seems to have a phone up, possibly talking to law enforcement. Where am I from? Is that even a Buffalo, New York accent? Law enforcement? Is it fucking Canadian?
Yeah. Let's see. He said he's got links in here. Okay, here we go. Let's look at this. Hello. There we go.
On calls after a shooting in a North Lauderdale Walmart parking lot that has now turned deadly.
Do you know why he shot him? Tell me exactly what happened.
They were fighting over a parking spot.
The Brown.
Oh! That okay. So we have it.
They were fighting over.
That is not. That his positioning there. He was still walking. Visually only. We don't have audio. Okay, we do not have audio. From a strictly visual standpoint, that's not a good shoot. That's not a good shoot from a strictly visual perspective. Now, again, we don't have audio. We don't know what they're saying. Is it possible that right before she shot, he went, "I'm gonna fucking kill you, bitch," and then she just shot? Yes. It is possible. We don't know. Unfortunately, we don't know. But strictly on the visuals alone, that doesn't look like a good shoot. It doesn't. Is it murder? No. I think regardless of whether or not, even if this was not a good shoot, and she was not justified in shooting and killing him. Is this murder? No. I'm going to hazard a guess and say no. Yeah, probably manslaughter. I'd say if she's going to be charged with anything, I would say manslaughter. That's my suspicion. Because it would be acting in a reckless manner that she knew could result possibly in the death or grave bodily harm of another. So, yeah, not going to be murder. This will likely be manslaughter, if anything. And again, we do not have any audio. We only have visuals to work with. But yeah. Now, post-case, if this woman does go to jail, and again, even if she gets charged for manslaughter, there's still a possibility that she may not go to jail. There is still a possibility that even if she gets charged for manslaughter, she may get off with like probation and maybe time served if she spent any time in jail during the course of this leading up to the case. I'm going to make a prediction here. If this woman does go to jail, does serve prison time, say she gets like 5 years for manslaughter, okay? If she does go to prison, if there is more media hype on this case, if we see this case in the news more, and it gets hyped up, we are going to see a Carmelo Anthony part 2 where you are going to have the activists basically verbally pissing on this man's grave and saying that more people like him should be killed. She doesn't fit the narrative they want. It depends. It depends on how the court case goes. And it depends on how much media attention it gets. If it gets a lot of media attention, they can make it fit the narrative. That's the one thing you have to remember. These activists, these SJRs, these racists, they can make any situation, they can twist the narrative to make it fit their agenda. We will see. Again, it's all going to depend on how much media coverage this gets, so I don't know. But from the visual-only perspective, that does not look like a justified shoot. That looks like, again, not murder. I would classify it as manslaughter. That's what I would classify it as.